There's evidence of people who were transgender in ancient Greece, Rome.
And there's more. Indigenous cultures, ancient Rome, all accepted trans people. Trans people are actually more accepted in ancient Rome, just like homosexuality was. No, this could not be further from the truth, and I'm honestly flabbergasted that this narrative is so widely spread, even among educated university graduates. The evidence that everyone points to is Elagabalus, the infamous transgender 3rd century teenage emperor. People point to lines like this from Herodian. His appearance, obviously foreign and wholly barbaric, would offend those who saw him. They were not used to such garb, and considered his ornaments suitable only for women. Or lines like this from Cassius Dio. He was bestowed in marriage and termed wife, mistress and queen. He had the hairs plucked out as so to look more like a woman. And when called for, "My lord emperor, hail!" Elagabalus was said to have bent his neck back as to assume a ravishing feminine pose, and called back, "Call me not lord, for I am a lady." He was also said to have visited brothels disguised as a lady, and reportedly tried to circumcise himself and asked physicians to contrive a woman's privates to replace his male protuberance. Seen through a modern liberal third wave feminist lens, sure, this might suggest that he was transgender, but we need to remember that we are talking about 3rd century Rome. We have to look at who was writing these descriptions and for what purpose. Ancient historians tended to write with a moralistic purpose to explain the state of their world, and the Roman Empire in the 3rd century, the period when Cassius Dio and Herodian were writing in, the empire was starting to disintegrate, and this teenage emperor from Syria, a foreigner, the first emperor from the Far East, was as far from the battle-hardened, wise, elderly, traditional Roman statesman as one could get. If you're familiar with ancient Roman and Greek literature, or God forbid, even Zack Snyder's film 300, you would know that all these descriptions of Elagabalus I mentioned, the decadent, the effeminacy, the sexually debauched nature, all of these are the classic Roman and Greek stereotypical slanders of Easterners, of Persians. Yes, this was just all Elagabalus slander. And how did these people conceive a fall of a great empire? Well, the classic fall that everyone knew was written by Herodotus about the Persian Empire, whose fall was famously attributed to their fall into luxury, replacing hardy warriors with soft-handed men. For the wondrous fruits of the earth and valiant warriors grow not from the same soil. Cassius Dio, Herodian, they all saw the decline of Rome in very much the same tradition. They blamed it on the decline of the austere, traditional Roman values being replaced by Eastern effeminacy, and a teenager from Syria who transgressed traditional Roman sensibilities and even tried to overthrow the traditional pantheon of gods. You could not find a better scapegoat or visual representation of how far they had fallen since Cato the Elder, who once famously said, "We have crossed into Greece and Asia, places filled with all the allurements of vice, and we are handling the treasures of kings. I fear these things will capture us rather than we them." So going back to these comments, rather than arguing that ancient Rome accepted trans people or could even conceptualize them, it would be far easier and more accurate to argue that they believe that effeminacy, sexual debauchery and general decadence to be the reason for their fall. Thanks for watching.